This video is brought to you by Sailrite. Visit Sailrite.com for all your project supplies, tools, and instructions. In this video tutorial, we'll be using a few vinyl fabric combinations and gluing foam to the sewn assembly to make a hull liner with foam. Then we will demonstrate how to install it in an aft cabin of a powerboat. Brian, the owner of this 1982 Regal Ambassador 245XL, will be heading up our DIY tutorial on how to install a hull liner with a foam backing. He has removed the old headliner hull liner and cleaned the fiberglass surface area with a 3M adhesive cleaner applied to a rag. Brian wants the hull liner to simulate the upholstered design that we carried throughout the bolt's exterior seating. To accomplish that, we will use the pattern we made for the seating area as a template for this hull liner. Brian will explain the process from inside the aft cabin.
Okay, we're here in the aft cabin. We're here in the aft cabin, and what we're going to do is we're going to carry the design from the outside of the boat to the inside. We're going to take this back wall of the aft cabin, and we're going to use the same channeling fabric, blue and tan fabric combination that we did on the exterior seating. So what we're going to do is take our general pattern that was used for the seats, and we want to lay that up on the wall in comparison and just kind of get a general feel for where we need to add to make the panel the right size.
Back on the boat, our first cushion was patterned with Dura Skrim pattern material, and we drew the design we wanted to follow for all the upholstery. A tan, then blue, then channeling section of fabric for the top plate. We will use that pattern to mimic the decorative design, so it is consistent throughout the bolt's upholstery, cushions, seats, and even for this custom hull liner project.
Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to mark on our pattern the changes that we're going to be making. So the edge of the wall will be back here. Edge of the front wall will be up here. And we'll just make those marks. And then we're going to add 5 3/4 inches to the pattern here. And we're going to add 7.5 inches at the top. There is a window that's going to go in here, and the window is going to split the design. The way we're going to lay that out, it'll be kind of right in the middle. I think it'll look nice there. Now, our pattern isn't quite as long as what it is. You can see we're going to be adding some material here. What I've done is I've drawn a line to indicate the edge here, and then I'm going to draw an arrow to add, and I'm going to mark that that's the edge. We are going to make this panel just slightly oversized because we're going to lay it into the edges and cut it. There are trim boards that will go in the corner from the original. We're just going to recover those trim boards and put them in place.
Since we wanted this hull liner to simulate our upholstered design that we carried throughout the bolt's exterior seating, we will combine 2 different colored vinyl fabrics with our vinyl channeling fabric. Those sections will be patterned and sewn together. We will not show how that's done in this video, but if you want to see the complete process, just look up this video to see how we did it. After the vinyl fabric is sewn together, if required, it's time to glue the polyurethane foam with fabric backing to the vinyl fabric. That's coming up next.
I'm going to use the line that I can feel in the seam here from the difference in the channeling to the vinyl to make my pattern. And I have the fabric side up of this. I'm going to glue the side that's just the plain foam to the vinyl.
Since the channeling fabric already has a polyester backing attached, we only need to glue the polyurethane foam with fabric backing to the vinyl fabric that does not have a polyester backing. So Cindy is marking where that transition is on the foam side of the polyurethane foam with fabric backing. She has cut it along that line, and now we'll use 3M General Trim adhesive and apply it to both the vinyl fabric's back side and the foam side of the polyurethane foam with fabric backing. It is important to spray the glue evenly, coating all areas well on both surfaces. Both surfaces meaning both the backside of the vinyl and the foam. Then you must allow the adhesive to sit for a full 3 minutes so the solvents can evaporate before applying. It needs to be tacky to the touch before adhering surfaces. The polyurethane foam with fabric backing is oversized on all 3 sides except for the edge here where it's been cut to match the channeling fabric. Cindy has only applied glue to about 12 inches of the product along the curved cut edge. Since she is working alone, she will glue small sections together at a time to ensure that it goes down without wrinkles. She now repeats the process, applying the spray glue to the vinyl fabric's backside and also to the foam side of the polyurethane foam with fabric backing. The fabric backing of the polyurethane foam is facing up. Three minutes later, she tests to see if the glue is now tacky. If it is, it's ready to be bonded. An important step that is crucial is to ensure that the foam and the fabric lays perfectly flat without wrinkle. It's a good idea to check the outside surface to be sure of that fact. Since our vinyl fabrics had a slight curve and they had to be sewn together, small wrinkles can be possible along the seam, since any sewing usually causes what I call needle pucker phenomenon. Fabric changes size ever so slightly after it's sewn. That's just a fact of life. Everything looks good. She'll apply the remainder using the same process. We will not show all of that.
I did this in 3 steps just because I'm only one person and it's a little bit easier to handle getting the foam to stick in the right place when you just do a little bit of it at a time. Right now I'm just waiting for this to cure. It needs to be tacky before we stick it down. After you get it glued down and where you want it, turn it over and press it like this, because we're finding that the more we press on it, the better that it looks.
Cindy has now completed the hull liner by sewing the vinyl sections together and then gluing the foam to the back side. Up next, Brian will take this hull liner panel and install it in the aft cabin of his boat.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take our finished panel and glue it into place. What I've done is I've cut the bottom edge so that I can mate it up. That gives me kind of a good starting point since it's a nice straight line. So the first step is going to be to apply our 3M general trim adhesive to both the back wall and the back side of the material. And so I'll go ahead and proceed with that.
You'll find 3M general trim adhesive and other adhesives at Sailrite.com.
Okay, we're going to use the medium spray pattern on this as far as how much we're going to apply.
Under the spray nozzle, you will see L, M, and H. Brian twisted the spray nozzle to M for a medium spray application. The area where the hull liner needs to be installed is not very large, so Brian will apply the glue to the entire surface all at once. If it were larger, it should be done in sections at a time to avoid an almost instant bond of the hull liner before it is smoothed out.
Now, I purposely got this laid out here to cover my carpet up so I don't get spray on my carpet. If I get a little bit of spray on the adjoining vinyl, that's not a real big deal. I'll be able to take that off with the adhesive remover.
It is important to spray enough adhesive onto the surface. You'll notice that he is spraying in a crisscross pattern. Now he is spraying vertically, as before he was spraying horizontally. An equal amount of spray adhesive should be applied to the back side of the hull liner. Here he's spraying in one direction. After he sprays that direction, he'll go and spray the opposite direction in a crisscross pattern.
Okay, we've let this rest for a few moments, so now we want to carefully get it up into place. Now this will start to stick almost immediately, So you do want to be careful to get it in place before you start pressing it. And we're going to start in the middle and make sure that our bottom is in place first. And we're just a little crooked. We'll get that straightened out. And we've got trim pieces that are going to go in all the corners. So, okay, we've got our bottom. We'll work up our top. And just get it worked into place here.
Brian notices a bubble in the vinyl. If he acts quickly, he can pull away the hull liner and reapply it in an attempt to remove the bubble.
Oh.
Once Brian's happy, it's time to trim. That's coming up next.
What I'm using for this is actually a carpet knife, and I'm going to make sure we put a fresh edge on it. Okay, like I said, we've got a fresh edge on our razor blade, and this particular application, remember, we're going to have trim boards that go into place to cover it. In fact, you can see the hole there where it goes. So on this particular one, I'm going to want to cut a little bit more towards this back wall because I'll be covering this portion, not necessarily this portion. And once again, we've got trim that's going to cover all this area here.
This forward section's cutting easier.
Maybe that wasn't a fresh.
We may not have had a fresh blade in the last cut. It's important to change the blades often.
Okay, we got just a little bit of overspray onto this forward panel here. So we're going to go ahead and take that off with a little bit of the 3M General Trim Adhesive Remover. A little bit goes a long way on this. We're just going to put a little bit onto a rag. And just wipe the overspray off.
If you get overspray on vinyl, like here, or fiberglass, or finished wood, this adhesive remover helps to remove it.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut out where our port light goes. So I'm just going to feel for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the center and go ahead and cut to our edges. We still want to keep this fairly clean, but you know, the port light will cover up most of this. Depending on what you're doing here, sometimes you'll want to cut the hole and roll the material into the hole. In this particular application, this port light goes through here, and then basically it's filled with sealant from the back. So I'm going to want to make sure I don't have any material in there. You can see here I have a little bit extra material. We're just going to come back with scissors and just kind of clean that up a little bit. And then there's also little areas here that are cut out. I just want to make sure that I have all that material out of there because I don't want to take up any space that should be filled up with my sealant. We're not going to install our window at this point because we've got a little bit of cleanup to do with it, but just so that way we can see how that sets into place right there. So that'll cover up all of our edges.
This rather elaborate hull liner project is almost done. Next, we'll show you one of the many ways trim boards can be upholstered. Here, we are making upholstered trim boards using PVC lumber, which can be sourced from any hardware store. Then it can be upholstered with a headliner of your choice. Here we are using the Foam-backed headliner. We are using a 1/4-inch staples, stainless steel, and the Easy TC08 staple gun, available from Sailrite. Now this upholstered trim board can be screwed over seams, rough edges, or transitions to give them a finished look. Here's a finished look at our hull liner project with the upholstered trim boards installed. Coming up next is the materials lists and tools that we use to complete this project. For this video, we used Morbern Seabrook vinyl fabric. The Naugasoft brand makes a great headliner / hall liner with or without adding the foam. In fact, Naugasoft is our top choice for a vinyl headliner hall liner when no foam is used. To see more project tutorials that are similar to this one, click on a video here. In the next few months, you will see multiple new tutorial videos for the 2016 project boat, which is a 1982 Regal Ambassador 245 XL. Upcoming projects include V-berth cushions, reupholstering a folding helm seat, upholstered side panels, lounge cushions, cushions with a backer board, luxury woven vinyl flooring, and many more. Be sure to subscribe to the Sailrite YouTube channel and watch for them on the Sailrite website. I'm Eric Grant, and from all of us here at Sailrite, thanks for watching.